Hello everyone, welcome to NG's Corner for Nurses. Hope all of you are doing well. In last panel, many of you asked for the topic of checklist and rating scale. So today, our topic of discussion is checklist. We will discuss the rating scale in next week. So in this video, we will cover the definition of checklist, then the construction of checklist, and we will mention the points which to be included while constructing a checklist along with example, and then the advantages and disadvantages of checklist. A checklist is a simple instrument consisting prepared list of expected items of performance or attributes which are checked by an observer for their presence or absence. So checklist only determines the expected behavior or items or actions are present or not present. It doesn't consist of marks or points. So checklist is a tool for practice, not for evaluation. It is a tool for observing, tool for practicing, not for evaluation, because checklist doesn't consist of marks. Next, coming to the points which we have to keep in our mind while using checklist. First, checklist should be related directly to learning objectives. So, what we want to observe, the checklist should consist those points or behaviors. Suppose I want to observe the steps of vital signs checking. So, the checklist should consist of all steps of vital signs checking. Use checklist only when you are interested in ascertaining whether a particular characteristics to be observed. Suppose I want to observe the steps of bed making. So only the word bed making is vague. We have to specify I want to observe open bed making or occupied bed making today. And I have to take checklist for open bed making while I am observing the steps of open bed making. Next, clearly specify the characteristics to be observed. The checklist should consist clearly specify steps or behaviors or items, whatever I want to observe through this checklist. Okay. Next, use separate checklist for each candidate. Okay. Don't use only one checklist for 5 or 6 candidates. We have to document each candidate's response. So use a separate checklist for each candidate. Then observe one respondent at one time. We can't observe many respondents at a time. We can't observe the steps of bed making of 4 or 5 students together. So observe one respondent at one time. Otherwise, it can't be performed properly. Next, the observer must be trained how to observe, what to observe, and how to record the observed behavior in the checklist. Okay? Next, coming to the construction of checklist. Express each item in clear, simple language. Don't use unnecessary jargons. Next, the list of items in the checklist may be continuous or divided into groups of related items. As an example, if we are preparing a checklist of spirometry exercise, we can write the steps of spirometry exercise one by one. In another way, we can subdivide the whole steps into 3 parts like preparation phase, action phase and termination phase. Next, avoid negative statements. Next, ensure that each item has a clear response, that is yes or no, or performed or not performed. Next, review the items independently, and the checklist must have the quality of completeness and comprehensiveness. suppose we are preparing a checklist of some nursing procedures. So there should be a title, that is checklist on whatever is the topic. Then definition should be there, purpose should be there, and the articles required for that procedure, that should be mentioned. And then in the table there should be serial number, steps or actions, rationale, then performed or not performed, or yes or no column should be there, and the remarks column should be there. This is an example of checklist for surgical wound dressing. So please pause for a while and go through the next 3 slides. Next, coming to the advantages of using checklist. So checklist is highly objective, structured tool for observation or practice. Use of checklist prevents repetition or omission of activities at the time of demonstration, at the time of practice, in each situations. Students can be directly observed in an uniform manner using the checklist, because we are using the same checklist for each students and for each observations. Let's see the disadvantages of using checklist. Checklists do not indicate quality of performance. It only indicates each steps of that performance are performed or not performed. So the usefulness of checklist is limited. And for that reason, checklist has limited use in qualitative observations. And checklists are not easy to prepare. It is time consuming. If this video is useful for you, then it is requested to put a like and share it with others. And for getting more videos like this, you can subscribe my YouTube channel NG's Corner for Nurses. And for any queries or suggestions, you are most welcome to comment. Thank you for listening.